Welcome to OIB-TAC's monthly webinars, where our presenters share valuable information and helpful resources to support professionals working with older adults who are blind or vision impaired. Let's check out this month's webinar.
The opening code is NAT. That's N as in November, A as in Alpha, and T as in Tango. NAT.
It is my true pleasure to introduce to you and welcome back our presenter, Sacheen Smith. Sacheen is a disability advocate, artist, a proud Diné woman, and a technical support specialist with the New Mexico Commission for the Blind. And I do want to say, if you did miss part one of Sacheen's presentation, that it is available on our website, and we definitely encourage you to check that out. But Sacheen, thank you for coming back to continue the conversation with us.
Thank you. Before I begin, I want to express my sincere gratitude to Jennifer and the OIB team for inviting me to speak. Thank you for creating space for conversation about Diné elders, blindness, and cultural understanding. Your commitment to serving elders with dignity and respect truly matters. It is an honor to be here with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to share from both my lived experience and my community's teachings. Shike do shidine Sacheen Smith yinshe. Adone nishniki a sanjakin nishli a shihi bashashin hashglishni era shache ado era shanaleho wantlani. I just introduced myself in Diné. These are my four clans. Sanjakin, my mother's clan, which is cliff dwellers people or people of the honeycomb. My father's clan is Ashihi, salt people. My maternal grandfather's clan is Hashglishni, mud people, and my paternal grandfather's clan is Howantleni, which means many Hogans. I'm a Diné woman shaped by land, sunnies, and resilience. During my freshman year of college in Colorado, I began losing my eyesight, a lifelong altering change that forced me to leave school and return home to Albuquerque for numerous eye surgeries. What began as loss became transformation, navigating the tension between Western ideas of independence and Diné teachings of Ke'e, kinship and togetherness. I forged a path rooted in both self-determination and community. At Haskell Indian Nations University, I learned that disability advocacy is survival, fighting continuously for accommodations and access. Also, I trained at the Colorado Center for the Blind, which strengthened my confidence and independence, and at the University of New Mexico, I continued challenging systems. Through the Washington Interns for Native Students, which is the WINS program, I worked at Small Business Administration's Office of Native American Affairs and later through the Native American Political Leadership Program at George Washington University. I also interned at the Environmental Protection Agency's Office of Intergovernmental Relations, bringing Indigenous presence into federal policy spaces. I ultimately completed my degree at Fort Lewis College with renewed determination. Believing I had lost my art when I lost my sight, I later rediscovered creativity through touch, memory, and spirit. Today, I stand as an artist, poet, and advocate for disability rights, elders, and environmental protection. My journey is not about overcoming blindness, but about becoming fully myself, walking a path that may not bend and circle, yet remains strong-rooted in hózhó, community and fierce Indigenous survival. Next slide. Last month we left off on historical trauma, and I will continue with environmental racism. On Navajo, it's exemplified by the ongoing impacts of uranium and coal mining, which have led to widespread water contamination, lack of clean water, and severe health issues like high cancer rates, disproportionately affecting the community while resource extraction benefits outsiders. This systemic injustice is further compounded by inadequate infrastructure, ongoing drought exacerbated by climate and limited access to essential services like electricity and running water, and insufficient federal support. Since the 1940s, the Navajo Nation have been disproportionately targeted for extractive industries. Uranium mining exposed workers to radiation without protection. Over 500 abandoned uranium mines contaminate soil and water. Coal, oil, and gas extraction degraded sacred lands. Many elders still lack clean drinking water. Impact on health and disability. Higher rates of cancer, kidney disease, respiratory illness, and vision loss have been documented. Many elders associate disability with industrial harm, not natural aging. Medical neglect. For decades, Indian Health Services, which is known as IHS, has been underfunded, and there always tend to be long waits, poor access to specialists, and lack of culturally informed care persist. Past sterilization abuses, which I talked about last month, and misdiagnosis deepen the mistrust. Blindness and low vision often went untreated. Rehab, mobility training, and assistive technology were rarely accessible, which resulted with many of our elders avoid medical settings or only seek care when conditions are severe. The loss of autonomy. Federal policies restricted Diné their ability to practice ceremonies, manage their own land and livestock, such as the 1930s Livestock Reduction Act, educate their children, make decisions about health care. These policies taught generations that authorities would override, deny knowledge and their self-determination. Distrust as survival. Given this history, distrust is not a weakness, it is a protective response. Diné elders learned through lived experience that government systems, medical institutions, and outside agencies could be unsafe. Oral tradition. In one of our oral tradition, we have the hero twins, Monster Slayer and Born for Water. These sons of changing women confronted monsters threatening the people. Monsters in Diné tradition are not only physical beings, they represent forces that disrupt balance. Monsters can connect to the environmental racism, uranium contamination, medical neglect, systems that define elders as burdens. Today, our monsters are not giant beings. They are abandoned uranium mines, inaccessible healthcare systems, and policies that measure our elders by paperwork instead of wisdom. Cultural competence. Expect caution and slow trust building with our elders. Consistent relationships and respectful introductions matter to our elders. Clan introductions, patience, and transparency help elders feel safe. Next slide. What is the Borderland framework? Living between Western and Navajo systems, conflicting definitions of health, disability, and capability. The need to honor both worlds. The Borderland framework describes the experience of Diné individuals who must navigate two different worlds at the same time. Diné cultural systems, our traditional teachings, our clan relationships, hózhó and ke'e, and community expectations, and our traditional medicine people. Western systems are hospitals, disability services, schools, social workers, and government agencies. Many Diné live in the borderland between these two systems, and this affects how health, blindness, disability, and capability are understood. With first man and first woman in Diné emergent stories, balance between masculine and feminine, earth and sky cooperation and order is foundational. This presentation is about balance between Western and Diné independence and interdependence, medical model and relational model. You can frame the Borderland framework as a modern version of restoring balance, restoring our hózhó. Next slide. Living between Western and Diné systems. Diné individuals often move back and forth between two knowledge systems. One system may prioritize medical labels, individual achievement, and documentation. The other prioritizes balance, community roles, and relational well-being. An example, a Diné elder with diabetes has two types of support. On the Diné side, the elder meets with a medicine person for a ceremony to restore balance. The elder's family decides together when and how he or she will receive the care. On the Western framework side, the elder's doctor wants strict adherence to medication, scheduled appointments, and electronic health records. The elder isn't choosing one or the other. He or she is navigating both to survive. The borderland is that space where the elder is constantly interpreting, translating, and blending two systems that do not fully understand each other. Next slide. Conflicting definitions of health, disability, capability. So in Western systems, they often define disability through impairment, your limitations, or a need for a measurable function. In Diné way of life, we often define well-being through roles, relationships, balance, and the ability to contribute to the community. Next slide. Disability and health, elder perspectives, Western versus Diné. Through the Western framework, our seniors, disability defined by impairment is decline or loss of function. They focus on the vision loss, the hearing loss, mobility, or memory. Health equals absence of disease, symptoms, or pain. An example, an elder who is blind may be labeled disabled because they cannot read print, drive, or navigate independently. Service systems focus on diagnosis, paperwork, and what the elder can no longer do. In the Diné way of life, elders are valued for their wisdom, their stories, and for their prayers and guidance. Health is hózhó, harmony with family, land, spirit, and our ancestors. An elder may live with blindness or an illness and still be considered well. An elder with blindness may say, I am okay. I am still walking in beauty, even with chronic pain or vision loss. Western systems see decline. Families and communities see continued presence, balance, and spiritual strength. Next slide. Capability and elders, cultural competence and practice. The Western definition of capability, independence in daily activities such as bathing, cooking, and driving, the ability to live alone and manage without help, also needing family support viewed as dependence. Vision loss framed primarily as a functional limitation. The Diné definition of capability for our elders, fulfilling relational and cultural responsibilities, teaching our grandchildren and younger relatives, sharing stories, language, songs, and prayers, participating in ceremony in meaningful ways even without sight, holding and transmitting clan knowledge. A Western definition on disability, a Diné elder who is legally blind is labeled disabled because she or he cannot read print, drive, or manage paperwork independently. The Diné perspective, he or she or their family member sees the elder as capable because they lead prayer from memory, teach traditional stories, guides our grandchildren, and maintains clan teachings. Her capability is relational, not based on eyesight alone. Service providers may focus on visual acuity scores and medical documentation, and the family focuses on belonging, wisdom, and their contribution. The Western definition on health. Health means absence of disease and compliance with treatment. The Diné definition of health means hózhó, walking in beauty, balance, harmony with family, land, and spirit. An elder with blindness and diabetes may still say, I am okay, I am still walking in beauty. A provider may see multiple diagnoses, and the elder sees balance, relationships, and spiritual grounding. In the Western definition on capability, they may ask, can you perform activities of daily living? Can you drive? Can you read? Can you manage your finances alone? Diné definitions, are you fulfilling your relational responsibilities? Are you contributing to family life? Are you maintaining clan connections? Are you participating in ceremony? An example, a Masane grandmother with blindness may rely on her grandchildren to read her mail. She would need transportation for support, but she also may still weave intricate patterns by touch. She knows songs and prayers by heart and teaches traditional values, mediates family disagreements, anchors the household spiritually. Western systems may label her dependent. Her community sees her as a pillar and as a matriarch of the family. Key takeaway for cultural competence: capability is not about independence alone. In Diné culture, interdependence is strength. Ask, how does this elder continue to contribute and guide others? What knowledge does she hold that no one else can replace? Next slide. Examples of honoring both worlds. The Borderland framework argues that services for Native communities must be designed in a way that respects both Indigenous and Western knowledge, rather than forcing Native people to choose one over the other. Examples of honoring both, in a healthcare setting, the Western approach, follow the treatment plan strictly. The Diné approach, conduct ceremony to restore balance and strengthen spirit. And the Borderland solution could be the care team coordinates appointments around ceremonial days. Providers understand that a ceremony is part of the healing, not a barrier to treatment. In disability services, the Western agencies require an individual to self-advocate, while Native families prefer community or family-based decision-making. The Borderland approach would be providers allow family advocacy, not just individual advocacy, and include clan relationships when appropriate. In the instance of elder care, the Western programs assume elders want residential care. Many Diné elders prefer to age at home with family. The Borderland approach is to build programs that bring services into the home, respecting cultural beliefs about the land, our ancestors, and our place. Next slide. Why this matters. The Borderland framework helps professionals understand that Diné definitions of health and disability are not the same as Western definitions. Diné practices carry equal legitimacy. Systems must adapt, not expect Diné to abandon their way of life. Next slide. This slide's on cultural silence. When working with Diné elders, silence does not mean confusion. Silence does not mean disengagement. And silence does not mean agreement. In many Western systems, silence makes providers uncomfortable. If a client is quiet, professionals may assume they don't understand, they are depressed, or they are non-compliant, or they are hiding something. But in Diné culture, silence carries meaning. Silence can mean, I am thinking carefully, I am showing respect, I am listening, I am weighing your words before I respond. Many elders were raised in environments where interrupting was disrespectful, where speaking too quickly was considered careless, where thoughtful pauses showed wisdom. In Diné communication, reflection often comes before response. A provider might ask, "Do you understand your diagnosis?" An elder may pause, look down, and sit quietly. That silence is not resistance. It may mean, I need to process this. I want to consult my family. I need to consider how this affects my clan responsibilities. I am deciding whether I trust you. Trust is not automatic, especially given historical trauma. Silence can also be protective. Many elders grew up during the boarding school era, the sterilization, and medical neglect. Speaking too freely to authority figures was not always safe, so silence became a survival skill. Providers must understand silence is culturally intelligent. It is relational, pacing. It allows space for balance. Next slide. Elders as holders of knowledge. In Diné way of life, our elders are not simply older adults. They are repositories of history, language, stories, environmental knowledge, clan protocols, and practical survival skills. Before boarding school, knowledge was passed orally from elders to children through stories, seasonal teachings, and daily observation. Elders preserved knowledge that laws, songs, and ceremonies could not be written down. Colonization attempted to silence elders' voices, but many teachings survived because elders protected them. An example, an elder who grew up herding sheep can teach land navigation, can show you what plants are medicinal, can tell you about weather patterns and animal behaviors, knowledge that Western science is only now rediscovering. Another example, elders teach correct clan relationships and how to interact respectfully using Ke'e, information not found in textbooks. In services, an elder's decisions are respected and family-centered communication often goes through them. Elders guide the moral and relational direction of the household. Next slide. Service equals relationship, not transaction. And what this means, in Diné culture, service is based on relationships, obligations, and reciprocity, not on money, paperwork, or timed appointments. Helping someone is an expression of ke'e, not a business exchange. Traditionally, Diné communities survived by mutual aid, sharing water, food, land, labor, child rearing, and protection. Helping was part of maintaining harmony, not something you clock into. Western systems brought the transactional model, forms, appointments, time limits, and billable hours, which often clash with Diné relational norms. An example, a Diné family expects a home health provider to sit, talk, greet the elder properly, and eat, if offered food, before discussing care needs. This is building relationships in the service. Another example is a blind Diné client may bring a family member to appointments, not because they are incapable, but because decisions are made collectively. The service honors relationship. Another example, a Diné advocate visiting an elder may chop wood or check on sheep as part of helping. This is not extra, it is normal within ke'e. Next slide. Barriers Navajo elders may face. Some barriers may be transportation on rural lands, lack of electricity and water, limited vision rehab services, providers unfamiliar with Navajo cultural norms, language barriers. Many elders are Navajo monolingual. To the right, there is an image of shiprock. In Diné tradition, it means rock with wings or a winged rock. And it rises from the desert in northwestern New Mexico, but to the Diné, it is not simply a geological formation. It is a living part of sacred history. Long ago, the Diné lived far to the north. There came a time of great hardship, hunger, cold, and danger surrounded them. The holy people, the Yin, took pity on the Diné and caused a great bird to carry them to safety. This giant bird lifted the people upon its back and flew south. When the bird finally landed, it settled in the land that would become Diné-ta, the traditional homeland. The people dismounted and began to live there. But the great bird was injured. There's different stories. One say that it was struck by lightning, and in some of the other stories it says that a monster attacked it, and the bird turned to stone where it rested. Its body became the towering rock formation, now known as shiprock. And it said the jagged spires surrounding it are said to be the remains of the bird's wings. Next slide. Shiprock is not merely a landmark, it is a sacred place tied to protection, migration, and the relationship between the Diné and the holy people. It is associated with stories of monsters and hero twins who rid the world of dangerous beings. Power transforms, landscape holds memory. Our land remembers, our elders remember, our bodies remember. That ties environmental trauma, blindness, and sacred geography together. And so this slide is examples of borderland conflicts, independence versus interdependence. Western rehab, they could say do it yourself. In Diné families, we help each other. In regards to time and scheduling, the Western approach, your appointments at 2 o'clock. In the Diné approach, we come when we can after sheep herding, weather permitting, or caregiving. In regards to decision making, the Western approach is individual autonomy. The Diné approach is with clan, our elders, and we all decide together. Next slide. Best practices for providers. Start with Ke'e, ask for clans, share yours if appropriate, slow down, relationship first, tasks second, include family. They are part of the disability support system. Be flexible, honor seasonal rhythms, ceremonies, and travel issues. Use plain English, avoid jargon, adapt for Navajo speakers. Respect elders' roles, do not assume dependence. Next slide. Strengths of Diné blind elders. Their spatial memory, strong mental mapping from herding life, resilience and survival skills, multilingual ability, their cultural knowledge, and their experience navigating harsh lands. Here's an image of a sand painting by a Diné artist of one of our oral tradition stories, Changing Woman. Changing Woman is a central figure in Diné oral tradition and represents life, balance, and renewal. She was born from the union of earth and sky and embodies the cycles of nature. Youth, maturity, aging, and rebirth. Changing Woman created the Diné clans, teaching the people how they are related to one another and how to live in hózhó, harmony, balance, and beauty. Her ability to age and renew herself reflects the seasons and the resilience of the Diné. Through her sons, Monster Slayer and Born for Water, she helped restore balance by confronting forces that threatened the people. Changing Woman is not defined by weakness or limitations. She is powerful, adaptive, and life-giving. Her story teaches that change is natural, strength comes through balance, and well-being is rooted in relationships, responsibility, and continuity across generations. Next slide. Borderland Framework and Practice, a culturally competent provider, honors both worldviews, Western and Diné, supports the elders' autonomy within family structure, adapts Western blindness services to Diné relational expectations, avoids forcing elders to choose one worldview. Each community values manners. Each community has taboos and they differ across tribal communities. Each community has its way of integrating one's abilities and skills for the benefit of the community, sometimes looking at sameness as a way to start discovering how one can contribute to the community. This thought is provided with the understanding that blindness and its challenges may not fit in with the idea of sameness. Next slide. To serve Navajo elders with blindness, we must live in the borderland, honoring Western tools and Diné teachings of Ke'e, hózhó, and community. When we talk about health, disability, and capability, we often begin with Western definitions: diagnosis, impairment, independence. But Diné people had frameworks for balance long before hospitals, case managers, and rehabilitation programs existed. Our teachings are not theories, they are stories, and our stories are medicine. One of the central figures in Diné oral tradition is Changing Woman. Changing Woman was born of the earth and sky. She represents life itself. She ages, she becomes old, and then she renews herself again. She is not diminished by aging. She is not described as declining. She is not erased when her body changes. She transforms. In Western systems, aging and especially blindness in old age is often framed as loss. Loss of sight, loss of independence, loss of productivity. But Changing Woman teaches us something different. She teaches us that change is not failure. Change is cycle, change is season, change is continuity. When a Diné elder loses vision, we are not witnessing the end of their usefulness. We are witnessing a transition into another form of power, power rooted in memory, in prayer, in story, in voice, and that is capability. Changing Woman's sons, the hero twins, Monster Slayer and Born for Water, were sent to confront the monsters that threatened the Diné. The monsters were dangerous beings who caused chaos, fear, and death. But if we listen closely, we understand that monsters are not always creatures. Sometimes monsters are systems. Sometimes monsters are abandoned uranium mines that poisoned water. Sometimes monsters are policies that measure our elders by paperwork instead of wisdom. Sometimes monsters are medical institutions that ignored blindness because rehabilitation was too far or too expensive for us. Today, our elders still live with the consequences of those monsters. High rates of cancer, kidney disease, vision loss connected to diabetes and environmental harm. The hero twins teach us something powerful. We do not survive by pretending monsters do not exist. We survive by naming them and confronting them with courage. Disability advocacy in that sense is modern day monster slaying. Every time we demand accessible services, every time we insist that blindness does not erase dignity, every time we say that elders deserve both ceremony and medical care, we are restoring balance. In the Diné emergent stories, first man and first woman work together to create order, balance between masculine and feminine, balance between earth and sky, balance between responsibility and freedom. The Borderland framework we are discussing today is not new to us. It is simply another expression of restoring balance. Western tools, rehabilitation, assistive technology, mobility training are not the enemy, but neither are Diné teachings secondary. Balance means both can exist. An elder can attend a ceremony and see an ophthalmologist. A grandmother can use a white cane and still lead prayer from memory. Balance does not require abandonment, it requires respect. There is also the teaching of Talking God, one of the holy people who helped bring structure and order to the Diné world. Some teachings were never meant to be written, they were meant to be remembered. They were meant to be carried in voice. This matters deeply when we talk about blindness because Western systems privilege the written word, forms, charts, documentation. But Diné culture has always privileged oral transmission. A blind elder who cannot read print may still hold entire ceremonies in memory. They may know songs that were never written down. They may carry genealogies stretching back generations. If we measure capability only by eyesight, we miss the entire architecture of oral knowledge. We miss the fact that blindness does not prevent memory, sometimes it strengthens it. And then there is Coyote, Ma'i. Coyote disrupts order. He ignores boundaries. He moves too fast. He creates imbalance because he refuses to listen. Sometimes our service systems move like Coyote, rushing elders, imposing strict appointment times, ignoring silence, treating relationship as secondary to efficiency. But Diné knowledge reminds us speed is not always wisdom. Efficiency is not always harmony. Sometimes the most culturally competent thing a provider can do is slow down, listen, introduce themselves properly, ask for clans, because relationship is the intervention. When we bring these stories in our understanding of blindness and elder care, something shifts. We stop asking, can this elder live independently? And we begin asking, how does this elder sustain balance in the family? We stop asking, what has been lost? And we begin asking, what form has their power taken now? Our oral traditions are not separate from modern disability work. They are frameworks. They teach us that change is natural, that monsters can be confronted, that balance must be restored, that memory is power, and that relationship is survival. When we serve Navajo elders with blindness, we are not simply delivering services, we are stepping into a story that began long before us. A story of resilience, a story of adaptation, a story of fierce indigenous survival. And if we listen closely, our elders are still telling it. So I also have a story just to kind of remind everyone that this presentation is about Diné, about our Navajo culture. Every tribe across the United States is different, and this is an example. One summer, I was in upstate New York. The late Joanne Shenandoah and her family took me camping up in the Adirondacks. And during a thunderstorm, lightning struck a tree nearby. And after the storm passed, her and her family walked to the tree and gathered pieces of the lightning struck wood, explaining that in their culture, it was sacred medicine. She kindly offered me a piece and I thanked her, but I told her I could not accept it. In Diné teachings, anything struck by lightning is taboo, powerful, but not to be touched because it carries consequences for us. In that moment, I understood something deeply. Tribes are not the same. There are over 500 tribes in the United States, each with its own language, with its own culture, with its own ceremonies and relationships to the natural world. Respect means knowing that what is sacred in one tribe may be restricted in another. As we continue to serve our Diné elders with blindness, we must live in that awareness. Cultural competence is not memorizing traditions. It is humility. It is honoring Western tools like rehabilitation and medical care while grounding our work in ke'e and hózhó and Diné relational responsibility. It is remembering that capability is not measured by eyesight, but by contribution, wisdom, and presence. When we walk carefully between worlds without assuming sameness, without forcing choice, we create space for our elders to remain who they are and who they have always been, strong, guiding, and essential to our survival. Thank you. Ehehe.
This has been OIB-TAC's monthly webinar. Thanks for tuning in. Find recordings of our past webinars on our YouTube channel and discover all of our many resources at oib-tac.org. That's oib-tac.org. Like us on social media and share our resources with your colleagues and friends. Until next time.
The closing code is URE. That's U as in uniform, R as in Romeo, and E as in echo. URE.